Recently, Scott Jund put out a video attempting to address the common misconception that Knight is a super good camper. His words, not mine. His video will be linked in the description below, so you can check it out for yourself. In his video, Scott argues that people believe this because they may not be aware of the mechanic in which a hunting guard will vanish when the hunted survivor touches a hook to make a rescue. However, this argument fails to take into account all other elements involved in a night camping, such as the knight himself. Generally speaking, it takes 3 survivors to successfully rescue against a face camping knight. That's 1 person to take the guard and 2 to make the rescue. While the guard is busy chasing a decoy, it becomes a standard 2-man rescue. The reason why 1 survivor needs to take the guard is because the guard serves 2 purposes for a camping knight. The first is to bolster his camping strength by applying some threat through the guard. The second is to serve as an early warning against survivors when proxy camping. Knight's guard allow the knight to be an effective proxy camper, much like Hag, in that the knight can patrol gens himself while his guards do the babysitting. The moment a hunt begins, the knight is not too far behind to make a trade or tunnel the unhooked survivor. So this is the first reason why 3 survivors are needed to rescue against the knight. He's able to apply pressure around a hook at a greater range than other killers. It's like swift callouts, but for killer. Now, while what Scott said is true, that a hunted survivor need only to touch a hooked survivor to end a hunt, this requires the knight to not be paying any attention at all. The early warning the knight gets from his guard allows him to intercept the rescuing survivor and get an early hit on them, allowing them to follow up at the hook, potentially preventing the rescue altogether. It's no different than rushing a hook alone in a situation where 2 survivors are needed to make a rescue. But it's more than just an early alert. Once hunted, a survivor is now under pressure to rush the hook to avoid being hit by the guard, or to run away from the hook to avoid being downed by the knight. Again, this is why it takes 3 survivors to make the rescue. Even if 2 survivors rush the hook to make a rescue, the knight will just injure and down one of the 2 survivors, or injure both survivors, leaving the 3 survivors, including the survivor who's just been unhooked, in a situation where the knight can easily pick a new survivor to down, or just tunnel the unhooked survivor unimpeded. This is not ideal for the survivors, and this situation gets worse for survivors if the knight is using Save the Best for Last. In brief, this is because Save the Best for Last increases a killer's recovery speed after successful hits against survivors who are not the obsession. A 2-man rescue against a camping knight using Save the Best for Last can quickly turn into a slugfest because of the added pressure that the knight's guards can apply near a hook. Finally, the add-on Knight's Contract makes the knight a superior camper. The Knight's Contract makes it so with every 4th guard summoned, survivors within 12 meters of the summoned guard are exposed for 8 seconds. So if you see a face camping knight with no guards out, there's a pretty safe chance he's not summoning that guard for a reason. Now, it may only be 8 seconds, but as you all could see in the beginning of this video with the ADA, if a survivor gets in too close, they can be vulnerable to being trapped by this add-on's effect. If multiple survivors get caught in this trap, and the knight is using Save the Best for Last, it's possible to end up with a full team slug. In conclusion, the knight is an extremely strong camper because it requires 3 survivors to successfully pull off a rescue without hook trading or otherwise setting up the knight to start snowballing out of control. That said, camping with knight while there are 4 survivors is incredibly weak. The difficulty involved in rescuing against a face camping knight has the Bubba effect, in that survivors leave their fellow survivor on the hook, spread out, and try to slam out as many generators as possible, and maybe go in for a trade at the last second just to buy more time. Knight players looking to cheese an early advantage are better off tunneling because it puts the remaining survivors in a position where they can never safely rescue without trading if the knight chooses to camp. And even then, if they choose not to make the rescue, the 2 unhooked survivors will likely not be able to slam out generators in time to escape themselves. And that concludes the discussion part of this video. Now I'm going to do something that I don't normally do, and I'm going to leave the rest of the gameplay footage to play out fully. So that way you guys can all see for yourselves the effects of camping and why you need 3 people to make rescues against the night. But other than that, that's going to do it for me. I want to thank everyone so much for watching. If you like the content, new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps out. We're looking to reach that 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully we can try to do that. I'd like to make that a goal for this year, reaching that 1,000 subscribers. But yeah, don't forget to comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Always open for discussion, and I'm going to see all of you guys in the next video. Enjoy. Bye.